historic Yankee Stadium. It's all New York, the New York Mets and the New York Yankees. High in the air, deep to left center field, and Piazza has done it over the bleachers. Last night, 3-0. And here's the Nextel batting order for Bobby Valentine's Mets. And he is going with a 21-man roster tonight. We'll get into that at length, but he does have some of his big names there in Alfonso, Piazza, and Zeal.
Well, the fact that Alfonso is back, but he is not the Alfonso that we've seen the last couple of years. He missed most of the first part of the season with a bad back, and he's just working his way back into shape. And you also have Relaford. He has done very well for the Mets. He's played very well. He played a lot of positions. And I think he is a very good player that they've added to this ball club. He can run, he can play defense, and he can hit a little bit. And there you get a look at Kiesler. He is the key to his success tonight will be whether he establishes his fastball early or not. He has a good fastball, and sometimes he falls in love with his changeup, which is also a very good pitch. But he has all the pitches: cut, fastball, changeup, and a curveball. But the keys will be his fastball and his changeup. And let's take a look at the Yankees defensively behind Kiesler. And left field has been a problem, so to speak, for them. They've used a lot of players out there. And right at this moment, Shane Spencer is the left fielder. And he has a Gold Glove center fielder Bernie Williams out there with him. So the Yankees are a little different than the team that we saw at the start of the season.
The umpiring alignment for the game tonight: Fielden Culbreth behind home plate, Dale Scott at first base, Larry Young, the crew chief, at second base, and Andy Fletcher is over at third base. And Joe McEwing strides to the plate. McEwing has been one of the Mets' best hitters lately. He comes into the game hitting .314 for the year, 5 homers, 12 batted in. And he goes up there to hack. He rarely walks.
Well, remember, John, they were calling him Super Joe when he was at the St. Louis Cardinals.
One ball and no strikes. Now, Kiesler has been prone toward wildness. In 29 big league innings this year, he has walked 22. He does have 27 strikeouts, and he's had a lot more success the first couple of times through a batting order than after. And it is 2-0. Kiesler, who is from Richardson, Texas, and he grew up with Roger Clemens as his idol. He had a poster of the Rocket on the wall of his bedroom as a kid. Even when he went away to junior college, he took that poster with him.
Well, he hasn't even been close with even the first 2 pitches in this ball game.
And that's too low, 3-0 the count. But soon after he got to college, Joe, I must add, the Clemens poster went down, and a newly acquired Cindy Crawford poster went up.
That's a pretty good trade, I would think.
And then, having made that transition, he then transferred from the junior college to LSU. 3-0 the count. That's a called strike, 3-1. He won his very first last year in Fenway Park, making him the first Yankee rookie to win his major league debut in Fenway since 1956. Ralph Terry was the last Yankee rookie to win his first major league game at Fenway. 3-1 the count. Tino Martinez, Kiesler over the cover, and McEwing is out number 1.
That pitch really jammed McEwing. It may have been a cut fastball, and he thought it was going to be a straight fastball.
Second base.
Kiesler,
number 13,
made the ball club coming out of spring training, but then he was in April returned to AAA, and he, in the newspapers, criticized Joe Torre. He said that going back to AAA was like going back to high school. The Yankees scolded him. I guess that's one way to put it for that. And Alfonso takes a called strike. Then when he got to the Columbus ball club in AAA, you can imagine his teammates also let him have it for the high school remark. So Randy Kiesler has been going through some transitions. trying to mature at the big league level. Well, he's got a big league curveball right there. 0-2 the count to Alfonso.
And you see that Alfonso is not, you know, the Edgardo Alfonso we've seen that hit well over 300. You never see him chase pitches like this. That ball was never in the strike zone. But his timing is off, and it's going to take him a while to get back in the groove.
0-2 the count. The curveball, did he swing? No. First base umpire Dale Scott, when asked by the plate umpire Culbreth, said no swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, it's the same pitch, curveball in the dirt, but he is able to check his swing on this. You can see that ball hits well in front of the plate, which means it was never actually in the strike zone.
Edgardo Alfonso, 27 years old. He's hit over 300 each of the last 2 years. The Mets really miss his big bat. Soft leg is short. Jeter. And that is out number 2. Alfonso retired.
Nice pitch there by Kiesler. He had him looking for the breaking balls down. He threw a little cut fastball inside, and he jammed Alfonso.
And Mike Piazza.
You know, I laugh when they boo Mike Piazza. He's a guy, all he does is play. You know what I mean? He gets hurt, he keeps playing. He doesn't complain, he just goes out and play. He's the kind of guy that I think everybody should clap for.
He broke a bone in the big toe on his left foot with a foul ball. Curveball in the dirt for ball 1 from Kiesler. And yet, although the toe is nowhere near fully healed, he's been able to play this weekend as a DH. Tonight he went into the bullpen to warm up Al Leiter in Leiter's normal between games bullpen stint. And Bobby Valentine, the manager, went out there with him, and the idea was to find out how the toe reacted to the stresses and strains of being a catcher again, as he hammers that one foul deep down the left field line. Very much foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. He reported no problems with it. Bobby Valentine was satisfied. He could have been the catcher in this game. And Steve Phillips, the Mets general manager, said that's all he wanted to know. If he could have caught this game, then he's going to go ahead and go to the All-Star game and catch for the National League. Change up, too low, 2 balls and a strike. That's what I liked about him. I mean, he is one of those guys that
He wants to play.
He just wants to play. He loves to play.
Yeah. That's why I said it's hard for me to see people booing him. I just think he's ultimate professional.
Well, this is New York, Joe.
Yeah, but still.
He's the ultimate professional.
Yeah, but New York fans are very knowledgeable. Yeah, but the fans are very knowledgeable here.
3-1 the count. Like when Willie Mays went to Ebbets Field.
Yeah.
You think the Dodger fans used to cheer for Willie?
They should have.
All right, that's your point. That's well said. 3-2 now. The foul tipped that one. Man, he challenged him on that one.
Well, that was a high fastball in. And if you're going to challenge Piazza with a fastball, this is a pretty good spot. That's kind of a cut fastball. It's not up as much as I thought, but it was inside.
2 down, nobody on. See, they're cheering Piazza now. 3-2 count. Went back in there again. This time Piazza took it for ball 4. A fastball with a little cutting movement on it. And Kiesler talking to himself out there. Kiesler, in his rookie season, making the 23rd start by a Yankee rookie this year. Only the Cleveland Indians have had more starts by rookie pitchers. Of course, they have one of the top rookie pitchers around, C.C. Sabathia. Opponents are hitting only .223 in the first 2 trips through the batting order against Kiesler. Todd Zeile stands in. Good fastball on the outside for a called strike. So, you know, the first 2 trips through the order, he's done pretty well. But after that, after they get into the 3rd go-round in the batting order, the batting average against him has been .458. 1-1 the count. Big curveball, broken back base hit to left field.
Well, that was a hanging curveball. The other ones he has bounced. That one was hanging right up there in Zeile's eyes, and he ripped it to left field for a base hit.
Number 44.
Now watch where this curveball is. Remember, he's bounced a couple early in the ball game, and you see that one just kind of rolls. That's not really a sharp breaking curveball. That one's just rolling, and Zeal just rips it.
Now Zeal, with only 5 home runs this year, 272 batting average, 39 runs batted in. They're hoping for 20, 25 home runs from Zeal. Here's Jay Payton. Back from the disabled list, and he has not yet gotten back into his groove. He takes a fastball for a strike. But the point I'm making, Joe, is hanging curveball to Zeal. I mean, I'm sure he would like to have had a little more than just a broken bat single. Well,
that's true, but I mean, Zeal has had a bad elbow, so that is one of the reasons that he has not hit for the same power that he has in the past.
Check swing. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And I talked to Jay Payton before the ball game. He said he feels great. He's healthy, but his swing is off. He said he's got to find the groove and get back in it. I mean, if this lineup, when you look at the Mets lineup, I mean, they have some potential there to put some runs on the board, but I mean, they have just struggled all year long to score runs.
Payton, who hit 291 in his first full big league season last year. That changeup had him out front, off the end of the back. Kiesler gets the feed from Tino for the out. And the Mets strand 2, unable to get that base hit with a man in scoring position. The Yankees coming up against Mets left-hander Glendon Rush. Here is the Nextel batting order for Joe Torre's New York Yankees. Chuck Knobloch is DHing. Then you've got all-stars. A lot of all-stars, although not as many as there were just a few days ago. But Bernie Williams heading for the all-star game. Derek Jeter and several others for the Yankees.
Well, Bernie Williams has been hot since the time we saw him in New York. Tino Martinez has gotten hot, and I think he's the key. If you look at the middle of that lineup, you need Tino Martinez or David Justice to be in there swinging the bat well in order for this to be a good lineup.
Glendon Rush, who is 26 years old, lives in Seattle. The All-Star game will be in his hometown. Fastball away, but he has not done that well this year. Rush with a 5.22 ERA, Joe, and he has given up an incredible number of hits.
Well, I couldn't believe I saw left-handed batters are hitting 387 against him. 24 for 62.
That's got to be a mystery.
I thought I asked you if that was. I asked Peter if it was Pasquarelli, and he said no. And then right-handers are hitting 315 against him. I mean, those are huge numbers.
Knobloch takes a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Knobloch has been in a terrible slump. He's hitting in the 170s since early May. He's not been able to get himself out of this slump. 255 average for the year.
And the interesting thing, Johnsy, was hitting very well. He was up 340 or something for a while. And when all this started, and he just has struggled ever since. And he's had some good games in there. He had 3 hits a few days ago. But, I mean, still that adds up to 1 something. That's amazing.
1 and 2. Curveball in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Knobloch. Jeter on deck. Now, Rick Reed, who was named to the All-Star team, has been the Mets' best pitcher this year. And he woke up this morning with a spasm in the right side of his neck. Fastball missing, down and in, full count now. So Reed not only had to be scratched from this start, but scratched from the All-Star game. And the man that Bobby Valentine named to replace him, Cliff Floyd. Cliff Floyd will be going to the All-Star game after all.
And it's $16,000 worth of tickets, huh? I hope he kept them.
And apparently a lot of family and friends will be going with him.
I hope he kept them. Had to turn them back in.
With the upper deck off to the right. Now, see, Valentine thought that was fun.
Well, there was a lot of controversy going on here this week. I mean, I've been here for a few days, and I mean, there was a lot of things written back and forth about the Cliff Floyd, Bobby Valentine situation.
Hammered down the left field line, but foul. And back into the seats. Still 3 and 2 to Knobloch. Well, Floyd is going to the All-Star game after all, so the National League will go with 1 less pitcher than originally planned. Struck him out, and he chased ball 4, the high fastball out of the zone. And Rush is one of those pitchers, Joe, that wants you to chase pitches like that.
Let's take a look at the defense for the Mets. And Robin Ventura is injured, so he's out of the lineup. And they have Wilson behind the plate taking over for Piazza. Todd Pratt normally starts, but Vance Wilson is in there tonight. There's Mike Piazza and his new gold locks.
Here's Derek Jeter. Jeter hitting .292. 7 homers, 41 batted in. Takes a called strike from Rush. Rush pitched on Wednesday. Ordinarily he would have been due up tomorrow in the normal rotation. He's pitching on a little bit of short rest. 0-2 the count. And Bobby Valentine said before the game that realistically, if Rush can give them 5 strong innings tonight, he'll be very happy with that. Anyway, get the bullpen going. Deep third, and Rutherford just got it. Jeter really hustling up the line, but Rutherford filling in for the injured Robin Ventura. Threw him out.
And not an easy play for a guy that, you know, is a shortstop or a second baseman. That third base, that long throw from third is a tougher throw. When you play shortstop, you kind of round the ball to get in position to throw it. He had to back up and then just use his arm strength.
Here is Bernie Williams. Now, Bernie has been extraordinarily hot. .318 average for the year, but considering that he was hitting about, what, 180 at the end of May, I mean, that average not only is very strong, but it got strong in a hurry. Rush takes the ball too low. Bernie had the best batting average in the majors. Tonight, he is hitting .408 in his last 125 at bats, the best in the majors in that time.
Well, we have to remember at the beginning his father was ill, and I'm sure all that was on his mind, and he had to deal with that, and then his father eventually passed away. So, I mean, he's had to deal with a lot this season.
Bernie, as the changeup is too low from Rush. 2-1, 2 down, nobody on, no score first inning. Bernie made 2 trips home to be with his father and his family. Of course, the second trip was for the funeral of his father. And that's too low. Bernie says he comes out now and takes out some of his frustrations during batting practice. They said yesterday here he put on a home run derby of his own. He hit tape measure after tape measure. And when asked about it, he said, well, I swing as hard as I can the first trip in batting practice just to sort of take out some of those lingering frustrations. As he takes ball 4 here from Glendon Rush. Maybe Rush was out watching tape batting practice yesterday.
Well, you can expect him not to give in to Bernie Williams tonight of the entire ball game, because you have Tino Martinez, the left-handed hitter, behind him, and if you're a Rush, you feel like you should be able to have a better chance against a left-hander, although we mentioned that left-handers are hitting higher against him than right-handers are. So we'll just have to see how this goes. But Tino has been very hot lately.
Tino had a meeting with Don Mattingly back in late June. And since that meeting, that's when he got hot. And he already has 1 more home run this year than he hit all of last year. He's had 19 RBIs in his last 13 games. Little tap to Alfonso at second. And the force out on Bernie. It's a panoramic view of Yankee Stadium. All New York tonight, the Subway Interleague Series, the Yankees and the Mets. The Yankees won 2 out of 3 over at Shea 3 weekends ago. And now this series is even at a game apiece. Here is Desi Relaford. He fouls the first delivery from Kiesler into the upper deck off to the right, into the 0-1. Now Relaford with that .295 batting average has been a great surprise for the Mets, but unfortunately, when you look at their ball club, most of the club has been underperforming based on expectations. Relaford and Rick Reed and maybe Tsuyoshi Shinjo are among a handful of guys who actually delivered better.
There was an interesting article. Well, I shouldn't say interesting. There was an article in the paper here yesterday, and it was grading each player on both the Yankees and the Mets. And I found it strange that the Mets only had 1 player with a failing grade. The Yankees, they gave 4 players failing grades, including David Justice and Chuck Knobloch. And the only Met with a failing grade was Steve Traxel. And I was trying to figure that out. The Yankees are in first place, and the other team's in last place, and they have more failing grades on the Yankees than any place else. But I guess that tells you that potentially the Yankees are much better.
Off the glove of Brocious and into left field. That one really was hammered, and he was not able to come up with it. We'll see how they score it.
He kind of skidded a little bit, John. I think he felt like it was going to bounce, and it skidded. We'll take a look at it. You see he's in good position. And Brocious, see right there, it skids. It didn't bounce. It hit the edge of the grass, and it kind of skidded instead of bounced.
We'll see how they score it.
I assume they scored as a bait. Now they called an error.
And another very long list of errors for Brocious. That's 18 errors.
Which is amazing for the guy that they say is the best third baseman in the league.
Now they've got Rutherford picked off, but Keesler threw away the pickoff throw. Threw it right in the dirt and past Tino Martinez, who was getting ready to set himself for a throw to second.
Well, that there was pressure on Tino because Rutherford took off, and he was going to have to rush. Watch this. Now Rutherford takes off. Now he's got a good jump. Tino's going to have to hurry, and I think he could have helped Keith Slaughter had he not been getting ready to throw the ball to second base. But that should be scored as a stolen base anyway.
I don't know.
Because he was running.
Would have thrown him out.
Yeah.
Even had Keesler made the proper throw. I think Joe Torre would like to have seen how it would have turned out.
They wanted to give it a shot anyway.
Here is Vance Wilson, the young Mets catcher, taking a strike. He'd like to get Rutherford over to third base here. Well, they're going to score that as an error on Keesler.
Yeah, well, that's wrong. The rules said that's against the rules of the game.
The guy is going on a steal attempt.
Right. You can't assume that
even if there's a bad throw, give the runner credit for a steal.
Exactly. You can't assume that he'll be out. Right. You can't assume that. So it just tells you that I guess they didn't do anything in the Yankee Mets series.
Well, that probably will get changed.
Well, Howard Carpin is the scorekeeper. The guy took off on a steal. He didn't stop. He didn't hesitate.
0-2 the count to Wilson. And that curveball, he got a piece of it to stay alive.
Well, here's the throw to his first base. See, it doesn't really matter about the throw. I mean, Tino, as I said, was trying to hurry, so he probably could have helped Keith out by catching it, but you can't assume that he would still be able to throw Rutherford out at second base.
I mean, it looked like Tino missed the ball.
He did, right. But he was rushing because Rutherford had taken off, and he knew he had to rush to get it down there. Kind of like a catcher when a guy gets a great jump and a catcher drops the ball trying to throw to second base. That was exactly the same thing because he's rushing to get the ball to second base.
Or even if the catcher
overthrows,
threw the ball into center field, if the guy went into second base, there's no, it's a steal.
Yeah, but as you said, this is New York.
I didn't say that. You said that. And that's caught by Spencer. Wilson does not move Rutherford along. Well, tomorrow in Seattle, the baseball community gathers.
1993, Baltimore. Where were you when Junior hit the warehouse?
Holy cow. That may have hit the warehouse. That may have damaged the warehouse.
You can't afford to miss this summer's Slam Fest. The Century 21 Home Run Derby on ESPN. This Monday, 8 p.m.
It's become a great highlight of the All-Star festivities. Mike Piazza will be on the air with you and Chris Berman.
Well, last year, Sammy Sosa was the star of the Home Run Derby.
Ray Ordonez at the third. Brocious handles this one. Looks the runner back. Ordonez is quickly retired. The Mets have now had 3 at-bats in this game with a runner in scoring position, meaning a runner at second or third. We call that scoring position. And I mean, they are in the midst of a horrendous stretch of futility. Coming into tonight's game, they had only 5 hits in their last 81 at bats with men in scoring position, going back to June 27th, or until the 10th inning yesterday, I beg your pardon, when Piazza, Perez, and Zeal all got run-scoring singles, and the Mets win. So the 0 for 3 tonight, and 8 for their last 87 now. And one stretch, 37 consecutive at-bats without getting a hit in a spot like that. 1 ball and no strikes to Timo Perez, batting 9th in the pitcher's spot. The American League ballpark, of course, there is the designated hitter rule in effect. So Perez is up there. Back here in Yankee Stadium, where he had the real hard lesson in a crucial play in Game 1 of the World Series when he did not run on what he thought was a home run by Zeal. Soriano throws him out. So Rutherford was at second base with nobody out and never got any further. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. The Mets nothing, the Yankees nothing. Last of the second inning, and Jorge Posada will be coming up for the Yankees, who at one point had 7 of their members headed to the All-Star game, all selected by their manager and American League All-Star manager Joe Torre. Posada was one of those, and you can see his numbers. He well deserves the honor. One of the best hitting catchers. In fact, this year out hitting Mike Piazza even. 0-1 the count as Rush throws him a curveball for a strike. Posada, a switch hitter, batting right-handed. Fastball looked like it was right at the knees, called the ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Posada, then Shane Spencer and Paul O'Neill. Mariano Rivera was removed from the All-Star team yesterday. So you see Spencer on deck. That changeup, well, was clocked at 90 miles an hour.
That was a changeup.
Looked like a changeup.
Well, it was. It's the hard changeup.
I can't wait to see what his fastball gets clocked.
Yeah.
Here's the 2-1 pitch.
There's his fastball.
Back to the screen.
Just
2
a mile
balls.
faster, that's all.
2-2 the count. Anyway, Mariano Rivera got an ankle problem, so he's going to get the 3 days off to rest up that ankle that's been plaguing him. And Jeff Nelson was named from the Seattle Mariners by Joe Torre to be his replacement. Ooh, the big curveball of beauty. Strike 3.
When he throws like that, I mean, it's hard to imagine that, you know, he's had such a high run average. Let's take a look at Knobloch. Now watch what we do with the K-zone. Watch how he keeps going up the ladder here. High fastball. That one's even higher. Now the 3rd strike, up and even out of the strike zone. That's what you call using the strike zone to your advantage and then moving out if you're Glendon Rush. And that's what he did so well with Chuck Knobloch there leading off the ball game. And John, one point I want to make here about the K-zone is Spencer steps in.
Spencer takes a called strike, 0-1.
And that is, anytime you're talking about the strike zone, there's more than one strike zone. The pitcher has his version of the strike zone. The hitter has his version. And, of course, the umpire has the rule book version of the strike zone. And what you try to do is make all 3 of them mesh. And when they do not mesh is when we have arguments over the course of the season, over the course of a ball game. But it's very difficult to get all 3 of them to mesh. Because when you're a hitter, you view a pitch here at a certain angle here. When it's coming at an angle, you do it. This is the top of the strike zone, then you view the bottom of it. Whereas the umpire is sitting squarely behind you, and he's getting a different view of the strike zone. So you're talking about 3 different things in one.
Rutherford from third base, and Spencer is retired at number 2. So in other words, if an umpire maybe is calling a pitch a strike that we are showing is out of the strike zone on the K zone, as long as he's consistent with that,
then there's nothing wrong with it, because that's all the players want. The players want to know that this is going to be a strike every time, and this is going to be a ball every time. And if the umpire is consistent with it, then everyone should be happy. So that's what I'm saying, that you can't always just take, you know, the strike zone as we're putting here and say this is the only one that counts, because there is a little bit more to it. I mean, if consistency is what everyone's looking for, the pitcher, the hitter, and the umpire.
Paul O'Neill fouling one off to the left into the upper deck. O'Neill He's hitting .260, 12 homers, 44 batted in. Now, you brought something up earlier about a newspaper writer here in New York grading both the Mets and the Yankee players for their first halves, and 4 Yankees got failing grades.
Right.
Now, this goes back to your own youth, right? You were always lobbying for better grades from your own teachers.
Well, true.
Anyway, so there's a little bit of autobiographical bent to that. But let me just say this. I was talking to Don Zimmer, Joe Torre's bench coach, before the game, and he went position by position, and he says, hey, this is not a question of big money and big stars. Everybody's hitting. How many guys are hitting 300? How many guys are even having good years?
Right.
Not that many.
Right.
Paul O'Neill, the 38-year-old right fielder. Now, he brings a lot of things to a ball club. He's a winning player. There are intangible elements to his clubhouse presence and that sort of thing. He got off to a hot start this year at the bat. On the other hand, he's 38 years old. He has some other limitations, and he's only hitting .260. And they got a lot of guys hitting in that vicinity or even worse.
Well, again, I'm surprised, though, that there were failing grades given to some guys. I mean, El Duque, but he's been injured. Some of the guys have been injured. How can you get a failing grade? I guess Knobloch's been the only one that's been playing consistently. He's healthy. David Justice has been on and off the disabled list, so it's hard to give a guy a failing grade when he's been injured.
Ray Ordonez and O'Neill is gone. The Yankees go down 1-2-3. Glendon Rush filling in for the injured Rick Reed, off to a good start. Top of the order.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Nextel, is brought to you by Budweiser. With a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer, this Bud's for you.
John Miller and Joe Morgan, your Sunday night telecasters. The final game in the big leagues before the All-Star break. The Yankees and the Mets. Feels kind of like an all-star setting with the National League and the American League in the same ballpark. And, of course, we've got several all-stars in our game tonight. Joe McEwing leads off for the Mets, then Edgardo Alfonso and all-star Mike Piazza due up third in the inning against Randy Kiesler. Curveball miss said that Kiesler was from Richardson, Texas, not Richardson, Texas.
I didn't want to correct you, John. I know where Richards, Texas is,
He's
but I
from
didn't.
Richards.
I know
Texas.
where that is, but I didn't. Hey, I didn't want to. If you want to put a son on there, it was all right with me.
Well, I hope that you get the Big Tex award at the State Fair in Dallas.
Yeah, Richards, Texas, man. Well, you have to remember I'm from Texas. I was born in Texas.
Yeah, well, when I die, I may not go to heaven. I don't know if they let broadcasters in. If they don't, just send me home to Texas. Texas is as close as I've been. Deep into left field, but Spencer is there, and McEwing is out number 1. Now here's an update with Bill Pito.
John, thank you. Nextel taking us to Pac Bell Park. Brew Crew and the Giants 4-4, 13th inning. Alex Sanchez. Fair ball, drives in 2. First 2 RBIs in Sanchez's career. Brewers win at 6-4. Bonds 2 for 5, did not homer.
Sanchez, a guy who left Cuba on a rubber raft 7 years ago, ended up being detained and placed in an encampment in Guantanamo Bay. Eventually was signed by the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
I also
with Milwaukee.
I also beg to differ. Bonds did hit a home run. He wasn't given credit for one.
You saw that
the fan, yeah, I saw it on it. The fan reached. The ball was over the fence, but the umpires felt that the fan had reached below the fence, but it definitely looked like it was above the fence.
So Pacific Bell Park, with that low wall and fans able to reach over, may have cost the Giants a game today.
Yeah.
And certainly you feel it cost Bonds.
Well, it definitely cost him a home run.
His 40th home run. Alfonso facing Kiesler, bounces it foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Alfonso grounded out to short his first time. Mike Piazza on deck. No score, 3rd inning. But now he's even with McGuire. 1998 when McGuire hit 70. He lost one that should have been scored a home run at County Stadium, Milwaukee.
Correct.
Ironic that the Brewers again were involved today. But in Bonds' home park, 1-2 the count. That high cutting fastball. 2-2 the count.
And John, we mentioned earlier that Kiesler, the first time, through the lineup, first couple of times he pitches well. And I think one of the reasons he used to throw around 90, 91 miles an hour. And that would drop off a little bit, and then he would go more with the changeup. He'd fall in love with the changeup.
There it is. Brocious. Nice pickup, and he throws him out. So Kiesler threw the changeup there and got Alfonso out. 2 down. Here's Piazza.
And that's why I say his fastball is a key. If he can set this changeup up well with his fastball, then he's going to be successful.
Two down, nobody on. Mike Piazza. Piazza walked his first time. 21 homers, 48 batted in. Came right back from his injury, and in his first game against an all-star pitcher, Andy Pettit, he hit a home run here Friday. Off the end of the bat, and Jeter throws out Piazza. The Mets are gone in order. No score going to the last of the third. Brocious, Soriano, and Knobloch coming up for the Yankees. The Mets nothing. The Yankees nothing. Last of the third inning from Yankee Stadium. Back inside the ballpark now. Glendon Rush. The curveball too low for ball 1. And Brocious for the Yankees, hitting 311 home runs, 33 runs batted in. Alfonso Soriano will follow. And Rush misses too low. 2 balls and no strikes. Rush working on what we would call short rest a day earlier than normal because of the injury to Rick Reed. Of course, wasn't so long ago that this would have been his normal day to pitch. But teams went with the 4-man rotation. You pitch, you would have 3 days off, and in the middle day of those 3, you would have thrown him aside. 2-2 the count. I know Bobby Cox in Atlanta has over the years periodically worked Greg Maddux and John Smoltz when he was healthy, Tom Glavine on 3 days of rest, and they all seem to do real well with it.
Well, the guys in Atlanta, I think they throw almost every day. Bill Mazzone, the pitching coach, likes to have his guys throw a lot.
There's Rick Reed, who was scheduled to start tonight rather than Rush, but he woke up this morning with spasms in the right side of his neck. Back to the backstop. 2-2 to Brocious. I'm talking to Joe about this Yankee team. I mean, Bernie Williams now came into the game hitting .318 because he's been so hot for the last several weeks. The only other Yankee hitting .300 is Brocious. He's right at .300. Center field. Going back. Peyton. It is 408 feet to that part of the ballpark. A little bit too deep for Brocious. 1 away. Now Mike Piazza ended the first half of this inning with a ground out to short. Watch him run. Remember, he broke a bone in the big toe of his left foot last week.
Well, he was actually running well, though. I mean, he grimaced there a couple of times, but he was running well. He wasn't really limping on the toe or anything. He was running pretty well, I thought. So I think he'll be all right. Catchers are used to, I mean, being honest with you, having a lot of dings on their hands, feet, and so forth and so on. I mean, that goes with the job.
Here is Alfonso Soriano. He takes a called strike. Soriano hitting .261 in his rookie year. 6 home runs. 24 steals. The stolen base is a big part of the Yankees attack. That's deep and foul down the left field line. Souvenir. 1-2 now. Soriano 24 steals. Knobloch 26 steals. The Yankees have 5 players who've stolen 10 bases or more. In their first 85 games this year, they've stolen 95 total. They chased that one well up out of the strike zone. That, again, Rush's game. 2 down.
You're right. When he gets 2 strikes and he goes up top, it seems that the hitters are chasing it. Well, let's take a look and see where he starts. That's about bell tie. A little higher, and then he goes up and out of the strike zone. all those pitches were actually up. You don't exactly want the curveball up there, but the first two were.
Now it's almost like some guys, Joe, they're up there when they want to swing at the fastball. He finally got a fastball, but it wasn't a strike.
Right.
Threw a couple of curves in the zone and then a fastball. And he exploited it. He exploited the young guy who was a free swinger.
John, you made a point I think is worth taking a step further about the fact that the Yankees, lead the majors in stolen bases.
1-1 to Knobloch, and that's too low.
Well, they're followed by Seattle with 89 and with Philadelphia 87. Those three teams happen to be leading their divisions. And, with the stealing bases and doing a little bit more, not waiting for the 3-run homer anymore.
Right field. And coming in at the last, Timo Perez. That one started to fade on him. Knobloch is 0 for 2. We're going to the fourth inning. Todd Zeile coming up. Mets nothing. Yankees nothing. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. No score in the game going to the top of the fourth. That's Yankee Stadium from the Monster.com blimp. High above the South Bronx tonight. And we're always pleased to have them with us. Here is Todd Zeile against Randy Kiesler. Fourth inning. Zeile the cleanup man for the Mets. Ball, no strikes. One hit for the Mets, no hits for the Yankees. The two lefties pitched extremely well in the early going. Kiesler outside with that one. Ball 2. Kiesler got knocked out early in his previous start against Baltimore down at Camden Yards. He went only 4 innings, gave up 5 runs. He walked 3. He worked on the side. It was a bullpen day with the pitching coach for the Yankees, Mel Stottlemyre. And Stottlemyre, Joe, wanted to be a little more aggressive with his fastball.
Well, that's
in those corners.
That's the point. They said he has to use his fastball.
Right field deep, going back O'Neill in front of the wall. 1 away.
Well, a short porch in right field, and Zeile very capable of hitting it out of here in the right field. I thought he got a lot of this one, but apparently he didn't. Looks like he gets it right out on the barrel of the bat. Good part of the bat. Drove O'Neill back to the wall.
1 down, and here is Jay Payton. Payton grounded out to first with 2 men on to end the first inning. Changeup. It is 0-1. The Mets went 0 for 4 in the first 2 innings with runners in scoring position, starting with Payton in the first, and then Rutherford stole second base. The official score is still going with an error on that play, but we're still going with a steal.
Yeah.
Because
the rule book says so.
We're Sunday Night Baseball. We have a rule book.
Yeah, we have a rule book.
0-2 the count. Now, I mean, how did you know that? Did you look that up in the rule book, or
well, you
just happen to know from your experience?
I looked it up, but you have to remember now that that was important to me at one time. If I happened to get picked off, I still wanted a stolen base if I made it. But that's the way the rule reads.
You got picked off?
Yeah. I have to admit it. I hope.
And did they ever score that an error if you made it?
No, never. It's a stolen base. I mean, if you make it. But yes, I did get picked off.
Really?
Yeah.
How many times?
More than I can remember, but if you're aggressive, you're going to get picked off every once in a while.
Picked off.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have the guys find some video of that. Here's the 0-2 pitch. It'd be like a cute memory for you.
I must admit, most of the pickoffs were when I was first starting out. As I got a little more seasoned, I could read the pitches a little better.
So, like after you got to Cincinnati?
Yeah. Well, actually, 2 years before I went to Cincinnati.
After you got back to Cincinnati, or after you got to Cincinnati, and they taught you how to be a winning player.
Wait a minute.
0-2 the count to Payton, and the curveball in the dirt. 1-2 the count. Desi Rutherford, and then Vance Wilson to follow. The Mets at the All-Star break last year, the Mets on their way to a World Series here in New York, they had 4 players hitting over 300. Mike Piazza was hitting 348, which was no surprise to anybody. He always hits 348 by the All-Star break. And usually by the end of the year.
Right.
Derek Bell, who's in Pittsburgh now. Bell was hitting 318 at the All-Star break last year. Edgardo Alfonzo 318 and Todd Zeile hitting 305. They were averaging 5.3 runs a game at the All-Star break a year ago. 2-2 the count. He struck him out with a changeup.
Kiesler looks very sharp tonight. I mean, he's been able to use his fastball to set up the changeup, and he's doing it very well. I mean, even if you miss with the fastball, you're showing the hitter a different speed, and then you come with the changeup, and that's great motion right there. I mean, he has very good motion. 8 players in a row, he's retired. But, I mean, the thing about it, John, is you couldn't even see the difference in his changeup and his fastball motion there. That's what makes the changeup successful.
So Kiesler has been excellent. The last man to reach was Desi Relaford, who reached on Brocious' error back in the 2nd inning. 2 down, nobody on. 4th inning, no score in the game. Desi Relaford, who has really helped the Mets out. Off his foot. 1 ball, 1. Uh-oh. You think he's all right, Joe?
Well, the Mets are probably wondering.
I mean, the injury problems have been severe. Piazza, one of the most recent. Alfonso just got off the disabled list this past Tuesday. Payton just got back to the disabled list. A while before that is Edgardo. 1-1 the count to Relaford. That is a base hit to left field. He really hit it hard. That is the 2nd hit of this game. Both by the Mets. The other was by Zeile back in the 1st inning. Relaford is aboard.
Well, he tried to get a fastball inside. See, the target is inside. Let's see where the pitch ends up. Well, it's toward the inside corner. And Relaford rips it to left field for a base hit.
So maybe not as far inside as he really wanted.
No, he wanted it in on the corner. You always work on the corners, but you'll usually take a ball that gets a little bit of the plate.
Here's Vance Wilson. 1-1. Off-speed delivery. Now, you know, you talk about guys making a mistake on that inside. Some hitters, I mean, Relaford's a good hitter, hitting almost 300, and he hit a solid base hit. And some other hitters, if you miss by that much, would have launched it a little bit further.
Be trotting. Well, the home run hitters, by definition, they're trying to jerk the ball that's in there, really trying to drive it.
0-2 to Wilson. He lined out to left his first time. But I think one thing with that K zone, Joe, showing that he missed his spot by maybe 3 inches, 4 inches. But with the wrong hitter up there, that could be a run on the board.
True.
Missing by that much.
Well, the old saying, home run hitters drive Cadillacs and the singles hitters drove Fords. And that pitch right there is the difference.
Well, I used to drive with a lot of singles hitters. Back to the bag is Relaford. 0-2 the count to Vance Wilson. Wilson was brought up from the minors as a 3rd catcher, and Todd Pratt was filling in, and Piazza could not catch. They did not want to put him on the disabled list. Kiesler, and he threw him the changeup, but Wilson waited for it, fouled it off. Wilson has had 3 hits in 10 at-bats since being called up. Here's Bobby Valentine. He'll be taking the red-eye flight. The Mets and Yankees personnel who are headed for the All-Star game will be leaving right after this game for Seattle. Roger Clemens already has departed, so I think that pretty well tells you that Roger Clemens will be the American League starter in the All-Star game. Down the left field line, Spencer will have to play it on a bounce, base hit. Stopping at second, Relaford. So Wilson gets a base hit. The Mets with 2 2-out singles. And everything gets started in Seattle tomorrow. ESPN will be offering exclusive coverage of all activities taking place on All-Star Monday, beginning with baseball tonight at 7 Eastern, live from the Home Run Derby. Then at 8 Eastern, the 2001 Century 21 Home Run Derby. And we'll find out which major leaguer is the home run king of the Derby. Tomorrow night, last year was Sammy Sosa. He'll be back. Sammy Sosa, Luis Gonzalez, who's got 35. Todd Helton, they've all confirmed, as have Alex Rodriguez and Barry Bonds, who's leading the planet in home runs. Here is Ray Ordonez over the inside for a strike. Alex Rodriguez first had said he was not going to participate, but then had a change of heart, apparently. Major League Baseball, I told him it would be for the good of the game if he would play, and Rodriguez said that if you put it that way, I'll be in there. Of course, it is not going to be an easy time, I'm sure, for A-Rod in the home run derby back in Seattle. Curveball, and Ordonez is quickly in an 0-2 hole.
John, you can see that Kiesler has a good changeup. He has a good curveball. He has an average, little above average fastball. But he has good tools to work with, and he has a cut fastball. And you can see that ball looked like it was a ball, but it wasn't. When he crossed the plate, he was actually in the strike zone. And that's what a good curveball will do, start in the strike zone and break out.
That was very revealing right there. That pitch most likely would have been called a ball, although it did pass through the strike zone. Had he not swung, probably called the ball. But it is, as you pointed out many times, where the ball is as it passes over the plate,
right? Not
where it is when the catcher catches it. That should determine whether it's a ball or a strike. 0-2 to Ordonez. He grounded out his first time. The Mets have a man in scoring position there. Desi Relaford at second. Also Wilson over at first. 2 down. Ooh, man, that slider, and that didn't miss by much. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So I'd also say, Joe, he's got a pretty sharp slider.
Yeah.
To go with that curveball and changeup. There's Relaford at second. Vance Wilson at first. Both better to run than anything with 2 down. And Dillon just trying to make something happen for the Mets. Chased a bad one. A changeup that was up out of the zone, and Jeter throws him out. The inning is over. Getting that hit to drive in a run. Exclusive to Sunday Night Baseball, the technology creates a 3-dimensional virtual strike zone. Now, from the center field camera, the crosshairs activate to where the pitch enters the zone. From the side, the elevation of the pitch, and from above, the inside or outside location. The technology accurate to within 0.4 of an inch. Here's Derek Jeter, grounded out to third his first time. Glendon Rush. And the curveball is low. And we have a moment here just to once again demonstrate what the K-zone technology will do. We'll take you back to Jeter's first at bat. There's a high foul that will go out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. This was his first at bat in the first inning.
Well, he had 3 pitches. Now watch the first one right out there on the edge for a strike. This one gets a lot of the plate. He fouls it off, and here's a curveball that gets the bottom half of it. And you can see right there clearly it is over the plate toward the outside corner, about knee high.
Into the hole. Ordonez to his feet. Throws him out.
That's the exact same play made on Jeter yesterday, John. I mean, it's amazing. And the reason people say, well, why did he slide into the ball? Well, what he does there is he stops his momentum from going towards the outfield. A lot of guys would run through this ball and then have to try to stop in the outfield to make the throw. He stops short so that all he has to do is straighten up and throw to first base. So it's a more difficult play to make. But if you're good like Ordonez, you can make that play. And he made the exact same play yesterday on Jeter on a tougher hop, actually. This one was more routine. But the one yesterday was a high hop, and he still made the play.
I think Baryshnikov must have taught him that move. Ordonez went to the Bolshoi school of shortstopping.
Well, Bernie, for instance, Derek Jeter would make that same play. He'd run through it and then use the strength of his arm to make the play. And Ordonez is cutting it off and making it a lot quicker.
Another American League All-Star, Bernie Williams, taking a Ball outside. By the way, we mentioned Mariano Rivera not going to the All-Star game. Jeff Nelson of the Seattle Mariners was named as his replacement yesterday. So another Mariner, one less Yankee. But today, another Mariner was named to the All-Star team. And fastball misses down and in from Glendon Rush. 2-1 to the red-hot Bernie Williams. Greg Vaughn of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, who made the ball club, got injured today. He will not be able to play. And so Mike Cameron of the Mariners was named to replace him. That makes 8 Seattle Mariners who will be in that All-Star game at Safeco Field. I guess if your record is 63-23, you probably do have a few.
Well, I think that, you know, that's the way they should grade it. The team with the best record should probably have the most. I don't know about 8. That's 1/3 of the team almost, right? I don't know about 8 is quite a few.
Yeah, but that man, Joe Torre, will be in Lou Pinella's home manager's office.
Yeah.
The rest of the Mariners will be commanding that clubhouse, but Joe Torre will have complete reign of the manager's office at Safeco Field as Bernie Williams walked for the second straight time. So it is evident that Rush wants nothing to do with Bernie Williams.
Yeah, and look, he's watched Bernie in these games. He's watched Bernie over the course of the last couple of months. I mean, he can read the paper. He knows that Bernie's been hot. And with 2 outs or with no one on base, he's going to go ahead and put him on, I guess, or try to make great pitches. And if Bernie swings at him okay, if he doesn't, he'll walk him.
So here's Tino Martinez.
It's kind of like the way they're pitching Barry Bonds right now.
Tino lifts a high fly ball. Medium deep right center. Payton's got it. Tagging was Bernie, and he prompted that throw from Payton. But he was just bluffing. 2 down. Barry Bonds had 5 at-bats today. You mentioned, Joe, he's had 44 at-bats since his last home run, but also 19 walks. And he's been hit a couple of times. And
there's one thing that'll get a hitter out of his groove, John, and that's a lot of walks. Because he doesn't get to swing the bat consistently, and he doesn't know when they're coming after him. That guy there knows exactly knew what I was talking about. Babe Ruth was in that situation a lot.
The Babe.
Babe.
I mean, nobody walked more often than the Babe.
The Babe.
And he still managed to hit his home runs and hit his 370 and whatnot. Back to the bag is Bernie Williams. Jorge Posada, another Yankee All-Star, the hitter. No score. Last of the 4th inning. Yeah, Bonds. Yeah, I think it's 13 games since he last homered. 19 walks, and he's been hit twice in those 13 games.
Well, he came close last night. He hit a ball high off the wall in right center field at Friday night in Pac Bell Park. That was almost a home run. And then again today, I thought the ball was a home run. The one I saw on the video, it looked like it was definitely above the stands in left field, and the fan reached out and.
You didn't see it on video.
Well, I saw it on television.
You saw it on Baseball Tonight.
Well, all right, Baseball Tonight.
1 ball, 1 strike to Posada. Glendon Rush in a 0-0 tie. He's not yet given up a hit to the Yankees. 2 down in the 4th inning. The Yankees have their offense, which was on a roll there for a while. The Yankees had won 12 out of 14, including 9 in a row going into yesterday's game. And then Kevin Apier just destroyed them. 8 shutout innings he pitched. The Yanks ended up being shut out for 10 innings yesterday, and they've been shut out for 3 2/3 more today.
Well, we saw Kevin Apier shut down the Atlanta Braves last Sunday. I mean, he is throwing the ball well right now. And I watched part of the game yesterday. I mean, he was brilliant. Right on the corners, his ball was really moving well. He was in complete command.
Rick Reed alongside his manager Bobby Valentine, both slated for the All-Star game, but Reed with the injury, the spasm in the right side of his neck, will not be able to go.
Good pitch.
And Ordonez fielding it over to Alfonso Forchers. Randy Kiesler, the 25-year-old for the Yankees, 4 innings, 3 hits allowed, no runs. And on the opposite side, Glendon Rush starting on short rest in place of the injured Rick Reed, and he has no hit the Yankees through 4 with 3 strikeouts. The only Yankee to have reached base against him has been Bernie Williams, whom he has walked twice. All witnessed by the 55,000 plus at Yankee Stadium. I don't think so, young man. I mean, it would be one of the incredible turnarounds that the Mets find themselves playing in the World Series this year. Curveball for a strike to Timo Perez from Randy Kiesler. There was a lot of excitement. It was an exciting time to be in New York last October for the Mets-Yankees World Series. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Mets, of course, have fallen off considerably in a short time since then. At the start of this day, that ball is a foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Mets were actually just a half a game ahead of last place Montreal in their division. Now, the Philadelphia Athletics under Connie Mackey basically traded away all of his top talent after the 1914 season. Had the worst record after playing in the World Series. And the Marlins who did the same thing in 1998. History repeating itself under Wayne Heisinger.
Well, the Mets really didn't add anything, to their ball club. There's Steve Phillips, the general manager of the Mets.
I think he's trying to do something right now.
Well, they didn't do any. They didn't really do much. They were talking about getting Gary Sheffield.
Perez in the center, but right to Bernie Williams.
And I thought that ball was knuckling, John. You could see, because it sounded like he hit it right off the end of the bat, and it was knuckling out there to center field, and all of a sudden it took off a little bit on Bernie.
When you're in Yankee Stadium, you're watching a ball game in a venue of living history, and the Yankees retired numbers, and there's quite a roll call out there. Yogi Berra, Bill Dickey, Casey Stengel, the great manager, Mickey Mantle, DiMaggio, and a long list besides.
Mattingly, some younger ones, Reggie Jackson, the Met.
Phil Rizzuto. 1 ball and no strikes. The ball bunted out and missed by McEwen. There's the Mick, one of the best all-round players and one of the greatest switch hitters in the history of baseball. He became the epitome of the modern major leaguer. One ball and no strikes to McEwen. It's slowly toward third. Barehanded pickup by Brocious. He got it. Nice play. And McEwen is 0 for 3.
And not an easy play either. Ball moving that quickly to barehanded. Not an easy play to make.
Second baseman.
Watch, the ball is, it's easy to barehand the ball when it's about to stop. You can see that ball is bounced. He barely catches it. That's why it shows you how difficult it is. He only caught that in his little finger and he was able to control it. But that's tough to do when the ball is moving that quickly.
I think he probably has a very big little finger.
Yeah. Nice play, though, by Brocious.
I mean, that was a great shot. And then he got it into the throwing position very deftly and was gripping it across the seams as he threw. Now, was that just the luck of the draw?
No. It's automatic. I mean, an infielder automatically you find the seams as you're twirling the ball and setting it in your hand.
Alfonso, the hitter. Curveball too low from Kiesler. 2-0 the count. Edgardo has grounded to short and grounded to third. 0 for 2. Scott Brocious, he's already made 7 errors more this year than all of last year. But he's hitting. He's hitting a lot better than he hit last year. Right center field. Plenty of room for Paul O'Neill. That's the inning. Mike Piazza will have to wait an inning. This ball presented by Nextel. No score last of the 5th inning.
And this just show you why there are different strike zones for different sizes. Tino Martinez on the left has a bigger strike zone than Chuck Knobloch. You see him hitting out of a crouch.
First ball swinging. Spencer and Payton tracks it down in left center out toward Death Valley. 399 feet to the wall out there in left center, and Payton was able to get to it.
And you can see why Payton is a pretty good outfielder. I mean, he got a great jump on that ball, and he went to the proper spot. No circling or anything else. He went right to the ball. To see him in center field, Right there, he's taking the, watch his angle. He just takes the proper angle all the time. He gets right to the ball. And he doesn't time it to get there. He runs there and then he gets to the spot. Nice play there by Peyton. When that ball was first hit, it looked like it might drop in.
Now Paul O'Neill. O'Neill grounded a short his first time. Facing Glendon Rush. Curveball misses. Rush is in his 5th inning of work. I mean, he has been superb.
Didn't Bobby ask you for 5 or 6? What did he ask you? He said he'd like to see him go 6, right?
Well, he said if realistically, working on short rest, if Rush could give him 5, being right in the ball game, he would be very pleased with that.
Okay, so he's 2 outs from being pleased. And we want to make Bobby happy because he hasn't been very happy this weekend with all the controversy and everything else going on.
Well, this will make Bobby really happy. 2 down. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
2 down. Now join ESPN next Sunday night after the All-Star break. We'll be in Seattle. Luis Gonzalez and the Diamondbacks back to town to face the Japanese sensation Ichiro and the Seattle Mariners. That'll be at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific next Sunday night.
Esos partidos de béisbol están disponibles en español a través de ESPN Deportes. Llame a su operador de cable local o DirecTV. Para más información, conéctese a espndeportes.com.
Great play at second. And the out. Edgardo Alfonso, bad back and all, with a spectacular play to rob Brocious of a base hit. And Glendon Rush has not allowed a hit for 5 innings. Considerable help there from Alfonso. Piazza coming up.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Nextel, is brought to you by Hyundai, where the freedom of America's best warranty, the Hyundai Advantage, is standard equipment. And by Mountain Grown Folgers Coffee, the best part of waking up.
Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. The Yankees nothing. The Mets nothing. Top of the 6th. And All-Star Mike Piazza standing in against Randy Kiesler, the rookie left-hander. No score. He needs to be ever so careful right here. Comes after him. Fastball to the inside. Strike 1 called. Now, we didn't see Kiesler's game in Baltimore the other day, but I'm sure that this has been a far different approach that he's had tonight. Throwing strikes early in the count. Piazza has walked and grounded out. Goes back in there with that cut fastball, but misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's only walked 1 batter in this ball game, so it's a lot different. You know, because he usually struggles a little more with his control. He started the ball game off struggling, but he was able to get through the first inning anyway.
1-1 to Piazza. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Got a little slider down and in. And he's not pitching around him, although, I mean, there aren't at this point too many other threats in terms of the long ball. After Piazza, Zeal is on deck. He's only hit 5 all year. He's ahead of Piazza. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Piazza with 21 homers for the year. The other 8 hitters in the Mets lineup have 28 altogether. Jammed him with a high fastball on the inside. 1-2.
And that was good location there. They were up and in. And because he has such a good curveball, and because he has a changeup, Piazza has to wait a little bit and try to recognize the pitch that lets that fastball get on him if you can throw it up and in. But you better not miss out over the plate with that.
Kiesler tries it again. 1-2. Curveball. And that was not the kind of 2-strike curveball you want to throw.
No, not only that, Mike's probably really upset with himself that he missed it. He had a good swing at it. Watch. I mean, this is kind of a rolling curveball, but watch where Mike's bat is. The barrel is right there. He just missed it. I don't think you'll see that pitch again in this at bat.
In the house that Ruth built, a Ruthian cut. Back to the fastball. He muscles it out into center. Bernie Williams in a few steps. And Piazza is retired, but as you saw, not before Kiesler was able to get away with one.
Yeah, he made some good pitches in that at bat. First pitch is a fastball for a strike. That pitch is fouled straight back, and that one up and in.
One out, and here is Zeal. Zeal has singled and flied out deep to right. Now, on that first pitch that was called a strike to Piazza, the K zone did not activate, and there's a simple reason for that. The technology did not read it as being in the strike zone. It's a called strike to Zeal.
But it's back to those 3 strike zones we talked about because no one argued. Everybody thought it was a strike.
One out, nobody out. Posada goes back in there again. That one is hit deep. Left center field. Spencer back, and this one is gone. A home run. And Todd Zeal, with only his 6th home run of the year. But it comes at Yankee Stadium as they watch it down on Broadway in Times Square. It is 1-0 Mets. Zeal back in the ballpark where in Game 1 of last year's World Series there was the home run that wasn't the ball that hit the top of the wall and was one of the key plays of the whole World Series. This time he made no doubt about it. He crushed it back in there at the Monument Park.
Well, it looks like he's trying to throw him a little slider inside or a cut fastball, and it's right there, and Zeal hammers it to left field. The only question was it high enough? And yes, it was.
Now Jay Payton and the Mets will be hoping that that is a taste of things to come in the second half. They'd like to see Zeal hit his usual 20 to 25 homers, which would take a real big second half. He showed plenty of power on that one.
Well, I think if you're the Mets at this point, John, all you want is consistency for the rest of the season from all of your players, all your good players. Get them all back healthy. Jay Payton, Edgardo Alfonso. Let Zeal's arm heal. Let Piazza get well. Ventura. And then just take good seasons the rest of the way. Just take good at-bats. Just go from there.
Well, if I'm a Mets fan, I want more than that.
Yeah, but I think you have to be realistic at this point of where you're starting from.
That's a base hit. Jay Payton, who's been slumping since his return from the disabled list. And he got one on the hands that time. That's a location that Kiesler has used to good effect much of the night, but Payton stung that one through the hole.
Well, let's take a look. Again, you see the target just a little higher than Posada set the target, but in the inside part of the plate where he wanted it.
Mel Stottlemyre on the phone to the Yankees bullpen. Well, we mentioned this at the outset as Stottlemyre heads out to the mound now. The Kiesler has been one pitcher the first 2 trips through a batting order, and then an entirely different pitcher the 3rd trip through where he's been hit real hard.
Well, and that's why you see Stottlemyre going out there. This is to really stall because they've seen him go very quickly in the past, meaning, you know, the 3rd time around that they jump all over him, and they want to stop this before it gets started. And you see Mendoza up quickly in the bullpen, and they're trying to give him some time to get ready. They don't want this to get out of hand too quickly before, you know, they can bring another pitcher in.
Mendoza, who pitched 3 innings here on Friday night in the first game of this series. Stottlemyre concludes his comments to Kiesler. 1 run in, 1 man on, 1 man out. Todd Zeal launching a home run here. The first 2 times through the batting order, the Mets had 3 hits from their first 18 hitters. Now the 3rd time through, they have 2 hits and 5 at-bats. And that's very similar to the numbers against Kiesler all year. The 3rd time through the order and after, opposing hitters have been hitting .458 against him after hitting only .223 the first 2 times through. Relaford back to the bag again. Relaford has been safe. Scott Bosh's error. And he is singled to left field. 1 for 2. He just spit in his bat. Now, you think there's like a tactical reason for that, or is he chewing pine tar? What? It's too high for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes to Relaford. maybe just a good luck thing.
I think probably just that, good luck. Because I can't think of any sanitary reason that you would do it.
1 ball and no strikes to Desi Relaford. Pitch out, but Payton was not running.
Interesting there. Jeter started moving long before he threw the ball. So obviously it was supposed to be a pitch out and everyone knew it. It wasn't a very good pitch out either.
So Kiesler, who shut out the Mets for 5 innings on 3 hits, but now he's given up a home run to Zeal, followed by a single by Payton. And he's behind Relaford, 2-0. To the bag is Payton.
Well, he's doing a good job of keeping Payton close to first base. You know, they pitched out, it didn't work, so a lot of times the base runner will take off on the next pitch because they know you're not going to pitch out. So he throws to first base again. Good smart move there.
2-0 the count. Tino Martinez on the bag with Payton. That's too low. Well, a little distraction of the base runner over there, although Payton does not often steal a base. But Kiesler has gone to 3-0 on Relaford with his attention divided. John Stearns, the third base coach, flashing some signs. Payton from first base and the hitter Relaford taking a reading. I'm guessing that the sign was take.
Yeah. Well,
on the count.
The question is, do you try to hit and run? And it doesn't do you any good to hit and run if you can't get the guy all the way to third base. If he can't get a good enough jump at first base so that he's moving. The only other reason you would hit and run is just to open up a hole for your hitter.
3-1 the count. We'll keep an eye on Payton. He is not running. And Relaford draws the walk. He threw him an off-speed pitch on 3-1. And that's going to do it for Kiesler. Joe Torre has seen this before. He has seen Kiesler lose it all at once.
Well, I think Kiesler took himself out of the ball game with that pitch, John, throwing a 3-1 changeup.
So Kiesler, on his 90th pitch, is out of this game. 1-0. The Mets lead in the 6th. 2 men on. 25-year-old lefty Randy Kiesler pitched very well for the first 5 innings. Gave up a run, and then a hit and a walk to the next 2 hitters after the Zeal home run, and now he is out of the game. And part of the reason is because the Yankees have not scored at all. So here is Ramiro Mendoza on to pitch and try to hold the line here. The Yankees have not scored a run since Friday night. And Mendoza pitched in the Friday night ball game, went the last 3 innings of relief of Pettit through 39 pitches. There is Payton, the runner at second, and Relaford, the runner at first.
And John, I think sometimes if you're a manager, you sit there and you watch Kiesler throw a 3-1 changeup to Desi Relaford, who doesn't hit a lot of home runs. You say he doesn't have any confidence in his fastball anymore, and I think that's one of the reasons he took him out of the ball game. Was that 3-1 pitch was not a really good pitch to throw in that situation.
Fastball for a strike from Mendoza. Mendoza in his 26th game, 24th as a reliever. And for a while, they put him in the rotation. He made a couple of starts, but it created a real big hole in that bullpen. They put him back out there, and now they made the 2 acquisitions of Tasic and Walters. That one is a looping liner into left field, a base hit. Being held at third is Payton as Spencer overthrows his cutoff man. But it doesn't matter. Nice trap of the ball by Posada. And the bases are loaded.
Well, one of the tough things to do here in Yankee Stadium is score on a single to left field, because in left field they play so shallow anyway, and they play off the line in left field. So a ball hit the straightaway left field, it gets to the outfielder quickly, and that one did. So Spencer had the ball. He didn't make a great throw, but he got the ball so quickly they had to hold the runner at third.
So the bases are loaded, and here is Ray Ordonez. Ordonez has come up with a managed scoring position every time he's batted in this game, and he is 0 for 2. Middle infield double play deck. They pulled in at the corners. Mendoza throws a fastball for a called strike. Ordonez had a runner at second, 1 out in the second inning, grounded out to third. Runners at first and second, 2 down in the 4th inning, and grounded out to short.
Well, one thing I've noticed here, Mendoza's been up with all his pitches, and he's a sinker ball pitcher, and you're trying to get a ground ball double play. That first pitch there to Ordonez was up, and the pitch that was hit to left field by Wilson was up. That's where he wants the ball. He's a good sinker ball pitcher. You want the ball down.
Now, I mean, Ordonez takes the ball that was there, and now he swings at the ball that was down around his ankles. And he's quickly in the hole, 0-2. The Yankees bullpen is busy again. Slide with that time. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's right-hander Jay Witasick, recently acquired from San Diego. He's number 45. And the side-arming left-hander is Randy Choate. The Mets with a great opportunity. Payton at third. Rutherford at second. Vance Wilson at first. 1 out. 1 in. Dribbled it. It's a fair ball. There's 1. The throw back to first. 2. Double Curry, and the side is retired. Posada stepped out, grabbed it, went back for the 1 out, then fired to first for the double play. As we look in to the action from underneath the facade, the historic Yankee Stadium facade, now adorning the scoreboard area above the outfield. Here is Alfonso Soriano, and he takes ball 1. The Yankees were no hit for the first 5 innings yesterday by Kevin Appier, and again so far tonight by Glendon Rush, and Soriano with a routine fly ball. Timo Perez, and there is 1 away. Now an update. Here's Bill Peter.
John, thank you. The Phillies, believe it or not, at the break, a 1-game lead over Atlanta. Dramatic ending at Baltimore today. In the 9th, Travis Lee, 3-run home run. He won Friday night's game. He wins today's game 5-4 Phil. 3-run home run for Travis Lee.
A knife right to the heart of Mike Hargrove and the Orioles, and Travis Lee has proved to be a great pickup, along with Omar Dahl for the Philadelphia Phillies. They were 2 of the players they acquired in the Kurt Schilling trade. 0-1 to Chuck Knobloch, who is 0 for 2 in the game. Per ball 2 low, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And John, what happened to the Mets last inning is a lot of times what has happened to them during the year. I mean, they had a chance to try to score Jay Payton there, and I thought they should have been a little more aggressive and sent him, because Spencer doesn't throw that well, and he threw it offline, towards home plate. You're at the bottom of the order with Ordonez and Perez coming up. I mean, you're not like you're in the middle of the order and you can play it safe. I think when you're playing poorly, you got to take a chance and do something aggressive. I think they had a chance to score a run then, and they didn't take it.
Called strike 3 in the inside, and Knobloch very unhappy about that call by Fielding Culbreth. 2 down.
Well, Rush's pitched Knobloch tough the entire evening. We got him to chase a fastball up and out of the strike zone. Now he gets called out, so this is the 2nd strikeout here in 3 at-bats for Knobloch, who, as you mentioned, is still struggling.
4 strikeouts for Glendon Rush, the emergency starter. With the injury to Rick Reed, here is Derek Jeter. 1-0. The Mets leading. Rush pitching with a lead for the first time tonight. Jeter is grounded out twice. Lays off that curveball. 1 ball, 1 strike. I mean, Rush is sort of in the mold of the Tom Glavine. Not overpowering stuff. Depends on changing speeds, hitting his spots. Tonight he's doing that. Curveball away.
Well, he actually, he throws a lot of breaking balls. Has a good curveball, and Glavine basically uses a fastball and the changeup, turns the fastball over. He also has good curve. He just doesn't throw it a lot. Rush throws his a lot more.
Speaking of Glavine, he pitched a beauty today up at Fenway Park. course, he grew up a Red Sox fan. The Braves shut out the Red Sox today. Down the right field line into the corner toward the short porch. And one. He's gone. Derek Jeter ties the game.
Most of the teams like to pitch Jeter inside, and it's very dangerous to do here at Yankee Stadium because he fights the ball off. He doesn't get the barrel out there. He just fights the ball off, and he gets it down right down the line. I've seen this happen a lot. Watch where this pitch is. He just fights it off. He's always late on the ball, and he fights it off down the right field line. But it's only 314 down the line. And that's what Charlie's saying. That's a 315-foot home run, but it counts.
Now Bernie Williams, who's walked twice in this game. The curveball misses. Well, 1996 in the American League Championship Series when Baltimore was here, Game 1. And Jeter, it seems like a long time ago now, they had not won 3 straight World Series at that time. But a big play in that first game. Jeter hitting that home run to right field where the kid, Jeffrey Mayer, reached over the wall and caught it.
Well, it's happened a few times, I mean, in their run, you know, to winning championships. But that's what it's all about, getting a key hit at the right time. And as you said, I mean, they didn't have a base hit before that, so it works.
So, that's Yankee Stadium.
That's Yankee Stadium, exactly. And these guys play here a lot, so they know they do not have to pull the ball.
At Shea Stadium, or a lot of other ballparks, just a high, lazy fly.
What do they call it? A can of corn.
And who called it that?
Russ Hodges.
All right. Hall of Fame broadcaster Russ Hodges.
You say it was a can of corn.
It was a long time ago that he called it that.
Well, I used to listen to him a long time ago.
Can of corn, tell it bye-bye, baby. I remember 2 years ago when the Braves won the World Series here, and a big blow against Tom Glavine. It was Chuck Knobloch finding those seats in the short porch in right field. Bernie bouncing it foul. 2-2. Turk Wendell up in the Mets bullpen. 1-1 in the 6th inning. Glendon Rush. No hitting the Yankees for 5 2/3, and then the high fly ball in the house that Ruth built to that short porch which they built for Ruth. Just missing, and that was a close one. 3-2.
Well, I'm glad you didn't call it a big fly. You just said a high fly ball. That was not a big fly.
So you're not nominating him for the home run derby tomorrow.
That's not a big fly.
3-2 to Bernie Williams.
But it works.
Popped up foul. And that's out of play off to the right.
I mean, you have to like what you've seen from Rush in this ball game. And as you mentioned, Bobby wanted 5 innings, but because he had a no-hitter, because he was throwing the ball well, I'm sure Bobby said, hey, I'm going to go with him as long as he's throwing the ball well, which is the way to do it. And especially if you're the Mets who have struggled, and you may be able to get Rush back on track. I mean, he has a 4-5 record, so you might just try to do what you can to help him.
Base hit to left field for Bernie Williams, and he ripped that one through there. And of course, Bobby Valentine now, as he sends his pitching coach Charlie Huff out to the mound. The question is, with Rush working on short rest, how much does he have left?
Well, I think that's the question. How much does he have left? This fastball is pretty much in the middle of the plate, and if you do that with Bernie Williams and you do not have enough movement on it, he's going to rip it, and he did. But I think they're just trying to find out how he feels out there right now.
The Rush has only thrown 85 pitches for the game, but he has now thrown 20 in this inning. And because of the shorter rest and the emergency nature of the start, I'm sure that Charlie Huff wanted to look him in the eye and find out how much he had left.
Well, a lot of those pitches were not stressful pitcher, so to speak. He didn't have a lot of runners on.
Here's Tino Martinez. That's a called strike. Nice pitch there to Tino to get ahead of him. Tino has hit into a force play, and he is flied out to right center. 1-1. Ball, one strike. Tino is extreme style, power, New York. Oh, he put it on.
I would say that must be a Tino Martinez fan.
That's the president of the fan club. 1 ball, 1 strike. Curveball, 2-1.
But this is where you dig yourself a hole if you're Glendon Rush. If you can't get your curveball over, then the hitter gets a chance to sit on your fastball, and you do not have a fastball that you can throw when you're behind in the count.
There goes Tino, Bernie, and Tino lines a single to center. Bernie's digging for third, and Payton will throw back to second. Bernie running on the pitch makes it to third. The Yankees have 3 consecutive hits with 2 down. And Posada, another all-star, coming up.
And, John, that's exactly what I was talking about. See, he threw 2 curveballs. He misses with them. Now Tino Martinez knows he has to give him a fastball. And he cannot throw his fastball and get these hitters out. Here's a fastball, 2 balls and 1 strike, and Tino just rips it back through the middle. It didn't even matter that Bernie was running. He just took the fastball and laced it back up the middle. He can't throw fastballs when he's behind to these hitters. He can't pitch from behind.
Well, and he won't pitch at all anymore. Charlie Huff will take the ball from Glendon Rush. Turk Wendell coming in. Posada on the Yankees 1. Both teams scoring here in the 6th inning. The Yankees with a threat as Turk Wendell comes on. Veteran right-hander. And he's coming on to face Jorge Posada, a switch hitter who will move around and bat left-handed, which has been his stronger side. Posada is hitting .322 as a left-handed hitter. Bernie Williams at third. Tino Martinez at first. There's that fake toward third and a throw to first. But back to the bag was Tino. Seal on the bag with him.
And, John, even though Posada hits best from the left side, and you know, you'd prefer to have him hitting right-handed, they did not want to leave Rush out there because he was missing with his off-speed pitches, and he wasn't going to be able to get them out with a fastball when they could sit on it.
Slider over the outside for a called strike. Now, the Mets, who've had such trouble getting the base hit to drive in a run, tonight 1 hit in 7 at-bats with men in scoring position. And that 1 hit did not drive in a run. This is the Yankees' first at-bat tonight with a runner in scoring position. That's how well Glendon Rush pitched. He did not allow a hit until the final 3 batters that he faced. And looking back at it now, perhaps that a shortened period of rest, the fact that he was the emergency starter tonight for the injured Rick Reed, maybe that finally did catch up to him.
Well, and also I go back to the point that I thought the Mets should have 1 more run on the board. They should have attempted to try to score on the base hit to left field.
The catcher, Wilson, got the base hit, but
and had Jay Payton on the bases.
He was held at third. The next man hit a double play. High in the air along the left field line, McEwing. And that retires the side. So each team gets a run. Each team thought they should have had more in the 6th inning. Derek Jeter going deep. 1-1.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Nextel, how business gets done.
Quite a shot. The big ballpark in the Bronx, as Red G. Jackson used to call it, Yankee Stadium. The Mets won, the Yankees won, top of the 7th, and the view of Yankee Stadium from the Monster.com blimp high above. Back inside the ballpark, Ramiro Mendoza with a called strike thrown to Timo Perez, hitting 9th in the order for the Mets. Timo was grounded to second and lined out to center. Broken bat right back to Mendoza. There's 1 away.
That's what that heavy sinker will do for you. If they try to pull it, they usually pull it back to you, right back up the middle of the diamond.
Now the leadoff man, Joe McEwing. He's 0 for 3 in the game. Now, Joey, we mentioned the Yankees got no hit for the first 5 innings today, and also yesterday. Apier yesterday, Rush today. The last time that a team had been held hitless for the first 5 innings of consecutive games was 3 years ago. Roger Clemens did it one day and Woody Williams the next when they were teammates with the Toronto Blue Jays against the Oakland Athletics. 0-1 the count. So highly unusual. But then again, the Yankees are in a tie ball game here in the second game. They finally scored. They were shut out for 10 yesterday, and tonight for the first 5. 1 ball, 1 strike to McEwing.
McEwing has fun around the batter's box. He just dances around, jumps around, stretches. I mean, he's in constant motion.
Got a 10-game hitting streak going. 2-1. McEwing hitting .306 for the year. The Mets' current plight, their lack of offense. For a guy like Joe McEwing, you start hitting, Bobby Valentine's going to have to stay with you. Ride the hot hand. There's Mike Piazza. They need to get a base runner in this inning to get Piazza to the plate. McEwing has not reached base tonight, and neither has Edgardo Alfonso. The top 2 hitters in the Mets batting order in front of Piazza have been kept entirely off the bases. His foot, foul ball. 2-2. The All-Star game the day after tomorrow from Safeco Field in Seattle. And of course, all of the big festivities get started tomorrow, and ESPN will be there to cover them. 2-2 the count. And the strikeout. Number 2. Tomorrow night, ESPN, it all begins.
1996, Philadelphia. Where were you for Bonds versus McGwire?
I beat the great Mark McGwire.
You can't afford to miss this summer's Slam Fest. The Century 21 Home Run Derby on ESPN. This Monday, 8 p.m.
And Barry Bonds will be in the Home Run Derby, along with Sammy Sosa, the defending champion, Todd Helton, Luis Gonzalez. They have all been confirmed as being contestants. Alex Rodriguez, Brett Boone will be involved from the American League. And the names are still pending. And curveball misses 2-0. Now, Alfonso really wants to get on base here and give the big guy, Piazza, a chance to do some damage here at Yankee Stadium.
Well, he had his best swing that I've seen in a while last time up, Johnny. He's very aggressive at the fly ball to right field. So if he gets a pitch, he'll try to drive it. Nice pitch. Good pitch there by Mendoza right over the outside corner. Ball came back over the outside corner. And I'm sure that Edgardo feels like if he gets a pitch that he can hammer, he's going to try to go for it. I don't mean hit a home run, but extra bases, just drive it.
Over the upper deck, off to the right. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Alfonso does have power. His big bat has been very much missed by the Mets. He was hitting over 300 the last 2 years, hitting over 20 home runs, driving in a lot of runs. Alfonso, who got shut down by the Yankees in the World Series last year, it really has not gotten it going since. Center field, Bernie Williams reaches down and makes the knee-high catch. And again, Piazza left standing in the on-deck circle. Monday Night Baseball from New York. The Yankees, the world champions of baseball 3 years running. And once again in first place in the American League East. Here's Turk Wendell throwing a called strike to Shane Spencer. Spencer is 0 for 2, hitting 6th in the order. Paul O'Neill and Scott Brocious will follow. That is a foul back out of play. Quickly 0-2.
Well, Wendell works quickly, and he throws a lot of little sliders. And that was a nice slider he threw there, right over toward the outside part of the plate.
26 World Series championships for the Yankees. Bad hop, and that came up and drilled Relaford right in the sternum. An error charged to Rutherford. Now let's get an update from Bill Pito.
John, thank you very much. Atlanta going to the break. 1 game behind Philadelphia. Tom Glavine pitched 7 shutout innings today for the Braves. And on offense, Brian Jordan had a home run. He was a hero Friday. Had a great series. Home run there. And also it's Andrew Jones as the Braves get 5 in the 5th off of Tomo Oka. And Atlanta goes on to win by the final score of 8-0. Jordan 4 for 4 in the game.
Well, if Brian Jordan starts swinging the bat, John, I think that'll be a big addition for the Braves in the second half.
Well, he got his average up to 284 today. There goes Spencer, and there's a base hit. Paul O'Neill into right field. The ball is overrun by Perez. And being held at third was Spencer.
Well, Paul O'Neill is a veteran hitter. He knows he has to put the ball in play, and this is why Joe Torre is such a good manager. He knows when to push the buttons. And look at that pitch, how far it is off the plate outside. Watch where this pitch is. I mean, look how far he goes to get it. Normally you try to slap that ball in left field, but he just reaches out and pulls it, and he stays in the batter's box. When he made contact, he was still in the batter's box. Great job of executing the hit and run there by Paul O'Neill.
Now the Yankees with a chance to go ahead. First and third, nobody out. Scott Brocious the hitter. Slider into center. Tagging is Spencer. Back and making the catch is Payton with a jump, and Spencer scores easily. The Yankees lead 2-1.
And just like that, the Yankees used their speed, which wasn't a lot of speed. They executed hit and run. Brocious does the job, gets the ball in the air, something the Mets could not do with the bases loaded 1 out, and they score a run. And now they're ahead 2-1. And Payton goes back, and that ball just kind of takes off on him. He's still able to make the play. But that's the difference right there between, you know, a team that's leading the division and a team that's on the bottom half, not being able to execute with runner at third.
There goes O'Neill. Soriano took the pitch. The one hot throw by Wilson, too late. And the ancient one, O'Neill, gets his 11th steal this year. That is an integral part of the Yankees offense, and even O'Neill is a big contributor.
Well, he just takes off. I mean, Wendell doesn't stop him. Fastball in, no chance really. Vance Wilson just throws it in the ground, but even a good throw would not have been in time.
Now Soriano takes a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. You mentioned, Joe, the difference in this game. I mean, Ordonez, the 8th place hitter, was up with the bases loaded, 1 out of the 6th. Could not get that runner home from third. In fact, hit a double play and ended the inning. The Yankees' 8th place hitter, Brocious, promptly knocks in that runner from third with nobody out on the fly ball.
And that's the difference, I mean, between, you know, a fundamentally sound team and a team that's struggling. I mean, the Mets obviously are struggling. Brocious wasn't really concerned with hitting the ball out of the ballpark or anything. He was making sure he got the runner in.
The Yankee fans in abundance here at Yankee Stadium. Getting into it now. Sensing that the Yankees have turned the tide in this one, and will try and go for the jugular. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The count to Soriano. I mean, you're into that time of the game where you get Mark Wohlers, Mike Stanton, Mariano Rivera.
And that's a good question. I mean, Rivera pitched in yesterday's ball game. He actually got the loss, I guess. But, I mean, is he available to pitch today?
Well, I asked Joe Torre about that, and Torre said he should be. He would, if needed, would start to warm up. But the question is, when he starts to warm up, how does that ankle feel?
Right, that's my point.
Yeah.
You won't know until you get to that point, I guess.
But, I mean, he's not going to hold him back. Yeah. Although he's not going to go to the All-Star game, he will not hold him back from at least starting to warm up if the opportunity presents itself. Deep down the left field line, hooking into the corner, and foul. And that one had more than enough distance. A big fly foul. And there is Donnie Wall up in the Mets bullpen, a right-hander. 3-2 the count. The Yankees, who were no hit for the first 5 2/3 innings of this game, That is a fair ball. No, foul ball, I beg your pardon. Okay, from now on,
you let the umpire
just umpire. Farewell, foul.
Well, you see the ball is ripped down the line.
Well,
very close. Very close, John, and the bat boy is still trying to catch it.
We need more technology. The fair zone. I mean, even if it bounces on the foul side of the line after passing the bag, if it goes over the bag,
it's a fair ball.
See, you said it, not me. That one hit deep into left center field. Peyton is racing back, still going. This one is off the wall and a hop. O'Neill scores. Soriano streaking for third, a triple. So they called his would-be double foul, and Soriano shrugged it off and hit a triple.
Well, what has happened here is that Wendell, who usually throws a lot of sliders, he's throwing fastballs and they're up and in. He's been getting them up. Now watch where this pitch is. This pitch is up, and I mean, he drills it to left center field. And I mean, he's in cruise control right there. Now he turns it on while halfway between first and second, and he goes into third easily. And you can see Jay Payton goes all the way back and it bounces away. McEwen has to come over and pick it up, or try to. But it was easily a triple anyway.
So 6 of the last 8 Yankees who have come to the plate have reached base after they were no-hit for 5 2/3 innings. And that's all for Turk Wendell. From New York, the Yankees have turned this game around. Turk Wendell, who's allowed a couple of runs here in the 7th before being removed, and the crowd giving it to him, and Wendell responded and then took out his frustration on some bottled water. And the frustration of the night and of the first 3.5 months of this horrible season for the Mets, perhaps coming out there. The Mets, who were the National League representative in the World Series last year, and they come into play tonight just a half game out of last place in their division, 12 games under 500. Donnie Wall, the new pitcher. The infield is in for Chuck Knobloch, who is 0 for 3 in the game. 3-1, the Yankees lead the Mets. Soriano at third base. Pitch out.
Well, they were thinking, as Peter Pasquarelli and I were thinking, that they might try a squeeze, and they still might. They still may try it, but you know, Knobloch hasn't swung the bat well, and Torrey wants that run badly. That's at third base. They're playing the infield in, so Bobby was guessing right along with him and tried to pitch out.
And Knobloch has not faced Wall very often, but he has had success when he has faced him. 3 hits in 3 at-bats against Wall. 2-0. By the way, we showed the shot of Soriano, the rookie, who has tremendous speed, and I didn't understand why he wasn't running all the way. I mean, he got an easy triple. He might have had an inside the park home run had he run from the very beginning. Knobloch with a big cut, fouling it off. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, he had a good pitch to hit there. Fastball looked like it was right in the middle of the plate. He got underneath it, which is what you want to get a ball in the air because they're playing the infield in, but you can't miss pitches like that.
I mean, it's bad enough when a proven veteran and a home run slugger like Barry Bonds doesn't run out everything. But I mean, Soriano, that should be a regular part of his game. Now he's squared the bunt, but Soriano was not breaking for the plate, and Knobloch brought the bat back for ball 3.
That was going to be interesting because, if anything, that was a safety squeeze. The infield is already playing in. I don't know if he's not breaking on the pitch, which he is not. I don't know how he's going to beat the throw to the plate because the infield is already in, and they charge immediately when he turns around.
Fly. Center field. Medium. Soriano Soriano with a great speed. The throw hits the mound and takes a big bounce, and he scores easily. Knobloch with the sacrifice fly. It is 4-1 Yankees.
I don't think the throw was going to get him anyway, John. It was a little bit offline. It did hit the mound and bounce high in the air, but it was so far offline that the catcher, Wilson, was not going to be able to go get the ball and come back and get Soriano. The throw will be over here someplace, so it's not going to be time for him to go back and get it. Now watch. If his throw is right on target, they have a shot, but it's going to be off to the side. It's angling this way, actually. See where the ball is going? And he's going to have to go get it, even if it doesn't hit the mound and then get back. He wasn't going to have time to do that, so he was going to score anyway.
3 runs in the inning. And here is Derek Jeter, who got it all started for the Yankees with his 2-out opposite field home run into the porch that Ruth built. A little foul on the third base side, 0-2 the count.
And this kind of reminds you of the Yankee teams that won 3 straight World Championships. You know, you're going along and you look like you have them where you want them. The Mets were ahead 1-0. They were getting a well-pitched ball game. I remember watching last year with Seattle, especially in Oakland. It seemed the same way. Then all of a sudden, the veterans on this ball club respond and they come back.
Jeter, right center field. Perez going back. It's over his head. One hops the wall. Jeter to second. Turns the corners. The ball is bobbled by Perez. And Jeter slides into third.
That you're world champions, and you know, and we mentioned last year how they play the game, and they play the game so well. They know how to play the game. Their veterans are leaders, and they just know what they're doing on a baseball field, and that's what makes them such a good ball club. Because the talent is not the greatest, but they play the game that way. They play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Yeah. Now, I'd like to see Soriano follow Jeter's lead there and run hard from the crack of the bat. Jeter running hard, and the ball was bobbled by Perez. He just went on to third. They're walking Bernie Williams intentionally now. That's the second triple of the inning for the Yankees. Soriano got one. The last 10 men who've batted for the Yankees, and 7 have reached, including 3 singles, 2 triples, a homer, plus there was a big error by Relaford that got this inning started. So now they walk the red-hot Bernie Williams to get to another hitter who's been extremely hot, Tino Martinez.
These are the 4 at-bats for Jeter. When they get the ball down, they've been able to get him out. That was his first at-bat. That one's down low. They get him out again. Now this is the home run. This pitch is up, and he hits it out of the ballpark. This is his triple. This pitch is also up, and he hits it well. So I guess the key is you have to keep the ball down. Make sure you get the ball down on Jeter.
That's it for Donnie Wall. Dennis Cook, the left-hander, coming on with runners at first and third. 2 down. It'll be a 3-run inning as Dennis Cook, the veteran lefty, comes on. And the Yankees now with a chance to make it truly a big inning and maybe blow it open. Tino Martinez, who's been hitting a lot of home runs lately, is the hitter with runners at first and third. There is Jeter, who tripled. He's at third base. And Bernie Williams, who was walked intentionally over at first base. Now Tino Martinez, who has 19 RBIs in the last 13 games. 1 for 3 tonight. The Mets' ability to stay in this game may be determined right here. Back to the bag, Bernie Williams.
Well, if you're the Mets, you say, well, hopefully we can get out of this jam with only being 3 runs down, and you're thinking maybe they do not have Rivera in the dugout, in the bullpen tonight, and maybe you can come back against some of the other guys, although we know that he may try it if called upon.
1 ball and no strikes. If the Mets continue like this much longer, and we're not talking a whole lot longer, we're at the All-Star break at this point, there could be several Mets who get traded, Dennis Cook among them. 1 Ball and no strikes. Right to the second baseman. That's Alfonso. And the inning is over. So Cook gets the job done. But the Yankees put in the last of the 6th with an opposite field homer. Then Soriano hit a triple to fuel a 3-run 7th inning rally. Knocking in a run. They got it one more on Knobloch's fly ball. In fact, 2 sacrifice flies in that 7th inning rally. Alfonso Soriano's triple. Now Mark Wohlers, the hard-throwing right-hander recently acquired from the Cincinnati Reds. And Wohlers, those are his complete season stats, including what he did in Cincinnati.
You have to tip your hat to Wohlers, John, because of what he fought through to get back, to the big leagues. He was the closer for the Braves, in their championship years. He struggled, and then he just fought his way back. And so you have to really, tip your hat to a guy that's willing to stay with it like that. A lot of people thought it was psychological problems, the reason he wasn't throwing strikes, and they found out that he actually had an arm injury. So now he seems to be back on track, throwing the ball well.
Ended up having surgery. Here's Mike Piazza. 4-1. The Yankees lead. Fastball down and away. 96 miles per hour. I asked Joe Torre if he's changed or if he's still throwing like he remembered him from the 1996 World Series when the Yankees faced the Braves. And he said, yeah, he's pretty much the same, and he's throwing strikes. He says he's walked a couple, but he doesn't believe he's had any serious problems like he had been going through before he had that surgery. That ball fouled out of play as Piazza chased a real high one. 1 ball and 1 strike. Todd Zeile is on deck. Not so long ago, with a lead of 3 runs or less, misses. 2-1 the count to Piazza. Wohlers throws a slider, but he also throws a split-fingered pitch. That's not too long ago. This would have been the exclusive province of the left-hander, Mike Stanton. Stanton and right-hander Mariano Rivera, the closer, were the only 2 that Torre really trusted in a tight ball game. Off the glove of Wohlers. Jeter, he bobbled it, and safe at first is Piazza.
Well, he was looking to see if that ball was going to hit the bag. I think that was part of the problem. He wasn't sure if it was going to bounce off the bag, because it looked like it was going to bounce off the second base. Now watch, right here, it looks like it's going to hit the bag right there, and I think that threw his timing off a little bit, and then he wasn't able to grab it, and by the time he did it, they gave him a base hit.
So Mike Piazza, with a broken bone on the big toe of his left foot and without very much speed, even when fully healthy, gets an infield hit.
Are you questioning the guy scoring, the guy that gave him an error on the stolen base?
I'm just talking about the irony of it.
Oh, okay.
The unlikely.
And by the way, the guy that was scored, they changed the scoring on the stolen base. They had first given an error, when Desi Relaford stole second. Then they read the rule book where it says you have to give him a stolen base. So he does get credit for a stolen base.
It's the Morgan Amendment of the rules. Rule 10.08.
Yeah, I mean, it was. It's something at the OC or something.
Zeile fouling one out of play. 0-2 the count. Zeile homered back in the 6th inning.
And you can see the fastball's inside. It was actually looked like a cut fastball. It was inside, and he hits the ball well out in front of the plate, and that's why. But he stands in front of the box and he strides forward so that his bat is always in fair territory. And I like that because you're not going to hit a lot of balls foul from that position.
Wohlers with the split-fingered pitch down the right field line. O'Neill makes the grab in foul territory. Piazza will have to go back to first. A Piazza fan in the middle of Yankee country. One down now, and Jay Payton comes up. 4-1. The Yankees lead the Mets. The Yankee bullpen is busy. As Wohlers works here.
John, you mentioned that normally, you might see Mike Stanton in these situations. And I think what Joe Torre's trying to do is, there you see Stanton throwing, but I think what Joe Torre's trying to do is get confidence himself in Wohlers, in these types of situations, and make sure Wohlers has the confidence to know that he will be able to pitch in these situations, because he doesn't want to wear Stanton out before the end of the season.
Stanton has already been in 43 games. Ball one strike. But the problem the Yankees had, remember when we saw them last, they had not had more than a 4-game winning streak. And it was difficult for them to sustain a winning streak because on those rare occasions when the pitcher would give them a complete game, they didn't have to use the bullpen, but almost invariably they were going to have to use both Stanton and Rivera in a win. And they just can't go indefinitely every day, day after day. And then the Yankees would, and we saw it 3 weeks ago on Sunday Night Baseball when he did not want to use Stanton. And the guys that he did use ended up blowing a 7-2 8th-inning lead. The Mets scored 6 runs and won the game.
Well, John, you're not going to have very many guys pitch 9 innings anymore anyway. I mean, the way the bullpens are built nowadays, you try to get 6, 7, 8 innings out of someone, or 7, I guess. But you're not going to have, you don't have many guys that are going to go 9 innings. Very few.
But you need to be a little more deep than just 2 guys.
Exactly. Well, that's why you need them. You're going to have to use them if you're going to win ball games.
No swing, says Dale Scott, the first base umpire. Payton with a count of 2-2. Mike Piazza, who got an infield hit, the runner at first. I wasn't second guessing the official score.
John, I was just listening to you. I just was questioning. I wondered why you brought it up.
So I think you projected that on me because you were
thinking that way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But in a non-public way.
But I didn't bring it up. So you brought it up.
I didn't bring it up. This could be 2. Soriano, the second one. Jeter back to first. Not in time. Payton was too fast. 2 down as Piazza wiped out at second. And the batter will be Relaford. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball, since Joe brought it up, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. And wear the MLB Authentic Collection All-Star Game 2001 Workout Day jersey of your favorite MLB All-Star. Order now at MLB.com.
Cute hat.
Now, see, I think he looks cool in that. Since you brought it up. Ball one inside to Relaford. Relaford safe on an error by Brocious in the second. Then he stole second. And of course, on Sunday Night Baseball, we immediately gave him credit for that.
Correct.
And then 6 innings later, the official scorekeeper at Yankee Stadium this evening, after consulting the rule book, also has now credited him with that steal. Fouled away. Rutherford also had a single in the 4th and a walk in the 6th. So he's been on base 3 straight times. Unfortunately, he is hitting 6th in the order, not in front of Piazza. The 2 hitters directly in front of Piazza, McEwing and Alfonso, have not reached base at all tonight. Both McEwing and Alfonso 0 for 4. Piazza never came to bat with a man on base in this game. He went 1 for 3 with a walk. 1-1 the count to Relaford. There goes the runner. Payton will steal without a throw.
That was kind of interesting there. I mean, they were playing behind him, and I don't know exactly why, but I mean, they were playing behind him, and naturally he should just take off, and he did.
2-1 the count. I mean, why would they do that? So
it's not like Relaford's a dead pool hitter.
2-1 the count, and the splitter, and he pounds it foul down off his foot. One off his other foot earlier tonight.
Well, it gets that one on the side of his foot, so really it doesn't do as much damage there. At least there's some meat there. You're not hitting right on the top of a bone as Piazza did. I mean, it still hurts, but you're not going to fracture many bones at that point in your foot.
Piazza knows all too well what can happen with things like that. Scott Lawrenson, the assistant Mets trainer, is consulted with Desi Relaford and goes back to the dugout. Relaford apparently is okay. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count. Vance Wilson, the catcher, would be next. 2 down, 8th inning. The Mets are trailing 4-1. They have a man in scoring position, which has not meant much for them lately. The splitter for the strikeout. The Mets have 1 hit in 8 such at-bats in this game. Blimp view of Yankee Stadium is seen on the Jumbotron screen in Midtown Manhattan, and the aerial shots tonight provided by the Monster.com Blimp. And I've enjoyed every one of them. And that's the look right down on this big ballpark. I mean, it's an incredible looking park, especially when it's filled with 55,000 fans.
There's a splitter you talked about from Wohlers, and it did catch the front part of the plate before the bottom fell out.
The Mets, another lack of a base hit with a runner in scoring position. And ironically, they had 3 consecutive run-scoring hits in the 10th inning yesterday. This is Jorge Posada, the switch hitter, batting right-handed, facing Dennis Cook. Ball 1. Posada 0 for 3. His final game before heading to the All-Star game. In the Yankee bullpen, their closer, Mariano Rivera, has started to warm up. Rivera, who will not be going to the All-Star game. Change-up. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's Rivera. The Yankees' great closer, 28 saves. One thing, I mean, the American League's going to have a bullpen featuring guys who make their livings in the bullpen. 5 of the American League 10-man pitching staff are relief pitchers, and 3 of them are not closers but rather setup men.
Well, I guess he thinks he's going to get ahead in the ball game, and he'll use the relief pitchers and then close with 1 guy.
Maybe this was Joe Torre's dream staff, because we watched him win 3 straight World Series working that bullpen, right? Once they have a lead from the 5th or 6th inning on, the game's over, especially in the postseason.
It'll be interesting to me to see if Rivera can pitch tonight, and then he can't pitch in the All-Star game. I wonder about that, just to see if he's out there obviously testing it now to see if he can throw in the pitch tonight.
And the strikeout of Posada by Cook. There is 1 away. Coming up on Wednesday, the day after the All-Star game, will be the 2001 AAA All-Star game, live from Victory Field in Indianapolis. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern Time on ESPN 2. Check it out. Some of the rising stars in the game. Major League Baseball will resume play Thursday. Ballparks all around North America. Here is Shane Spencer. He reached on the Desi Relaford error starting the 7th inning. The Yankees began a 3-run rally. 2 of those runs were unearned runs. 1 ball and no strikes for Shane Spencer.
John, we're talking about the All-Star game, and do you realize, I mean, not 1 Yankee starter was selected to start, in the All-Star game, voted in by the fans.
But that's almost always the case.
Yeah, well, I think last year wasn't Bernie Williams the starter, but I mean, you're right, in most cases they don't have a lot of starters voted in, but I was surprised that none were voted in. They've had 3 straight world championships.
High drive in the left field. Waiting for it. McEwen. And Spencer is gone. Spencer officially 0 for 4 tonight. The Yankees, Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada, Derek Jeter. Plus the pitchers, Roger Clemens, Andy Pettit, Mike Stanton, Mariano Rivera will not be involved. Not because he could not perhaps pitch in the All-Star game, but rather because he has that ankle problem. Joe Torre wants him to have those 3 days off to rest up that ankle and come back strong for the second half. Here is Paul O'Neill. He's 1 for 3. Got a hit and run single. Fueled that 7th rally, and that pitch right under his chin.
I guess it didn't hit him. The umpire didn't point to first base. No, it didn't hit him. That's what I like about Paul O'Neill. He's agile in the batter's box. Well, we saw him. Actually, I have to tell you this, and it may sound strange, but if this was 20 years ago, I would say that was intentional. Not that he was trying to hit him, but because Paul O'Neill went across the plate to get a base hit the time before, he'd go back inside the next time.
Deep into left field and back to catch it. Right in front of the wall was McEwing, and that is the inning. We go to the 9th inning. Yankees 4, Mets 1 as we go to the top of the 9th inning. Mariano Rivera, bad ankle and all, he is on the pitch now to try for his 29th save of the year. 46 in the 3rd innings, 49 strikeouts, and only 8 walks. Coming up after the game, Sports Center, Dan Patrick and Stuart Scott are standing by. All of the day's sporting highlights. Sunday conversation with Bobby Valentine and the All-Star controversy, Wimbledon, and baseball tonight will follow Sports Center. Coming up right after the ball game. Lenny Harris pinch hitting for Vance Wilson. Harris with 14 pinch hits this year to lead the majors. He's had 144 pinch hits in his career and is 3rd all time. He needs 1 more to tie Smokey Burgess for 2nd and 6 more to tie Manny Mota for 1st. Mota, I saw Mota this week and asked him about that. Mota said that, hey, Lenny Harris is an excellent pinch hitter and will probably end up with more than 150 pinch hits and be the most prolific pinch hitter of all time, but Manny will still be the greatest pinch hitter.
I tell you what, I mean, that's a tough job. Everybody really, you know, pinch hitting is a very difficult job to do. I mean, sit over there on the bench the entire ball game and then walk up and pinch hit and get 1 at bat. All you're getting is 1 at bat, sometimes maybe only 1 swing.
Mark Johnson out on deck. And another foul off the foot. That cut fastball by Rivera. He gets a lot of those. A lot of hitters get sore feet facing Rivera. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, Manny Mota told me once he pinch hit for the great Willie Stargell. And he came out and tapped him on the shoulder and said, Pops, I'm supposed to pinch hit for you. So I said, get out of here. Don't try that on me. He said, no, really. Danny Murtaugh wants me to pinch hit for you. Struck him out. He chased one up over his head.
You know, I'm glad you brought Willie Stargell's name up because today is his wife Margaret's birthday. And I wanted to wish her a happy birthday. I didn't get a chance to do that earlier.
Number 20.
High fastball. He threw him 2 cutters down and in. Then this is pretty much just the overpowering fastball up.
It's only the 5th time in 91 at-bats this year that Lenny Harris has struck out, so awfully rare. By the way, Mota said he hit a home run pinch hitting for Stargell.
I'd have to look that one up. Mota wasn't exactly a home run hitter.
Mota is the greatest.
Yeah, he was a line drive hitter. Right, left, center, right.
Well, he
center.
said it was a shock.
Yeah.
And he came back to the dugout, found Pops, and pointed to his left bicep and said, Pops, see that? That's why he pinch hit me for you. He said it was the only time that he ever pinch hit for Willie Stargell. There's that cut fastball, that movement moving in on a left-handed batter. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mark Johnson. Johnson, the Ivy Leaguer, Started out with the Pittsburgh Pirates several years ago and has made a long odyssey to the minor leagues. Got 2 home runs. He's had 5 pinch hits in 13 tries. Jeter bobbles it, still throws in the dirt, pulled out by Tino, but too late.
That was a difficult play. Oh, they giving him an error on that one, and that was a tougher play than the one that they scored a base hit by Piazza. This is a tough play. I mean, the ball, now watch this ball's hit over deep in the hole. Now look at this. I mean, this is not an easy play. He tries to round it and get in front of it, and then he gets the in-between hop and tries to make the play. That was a more difficult play than the other one. See, he's on the move, and he gets that in-between hop.
That was an error all the way.
Okay.
See, you got a little cocky with that when they changed that stolen base.
I just said it was a difficult play. I didn't say it wasn't an error. It was just a difficult play.
Timo Perez loops one over to Jeter.
Now that would have been an error. Yeah, the pop-ups are errors. The pop-ups an error, but the other one was a tough play. I mean, he was running full speed. The ball bounced up. I mean, what is he going to do?
Well, as always, I defer to your judgment in these matters. So we got 2 down as baseball is about to adjourn for its annual All-Star game. A custom that began in 1933. Joe McEwing 0 for 4 tonight. Takes a strike. Perfectly placed right over the outside corner. It is 0-1. Next Sunday, we will be with you from Safeco Field, the site of this year's All-Star game. We'll check in with those red-hot, amazing Seattle Mariners. Ichiro, Edgar Martinez, Brett Boone, the whole lot of them. Next Sunday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And Bob Brenly's first place Arizona Diamondbacks and the amazing Luis Gonzalez, who is right there behind Barry Bonds with 35 homers of his own. And maybe Bobby Valentine works Randy Johnson enough in the All-Star game. Randy will not pitch until next Sunday night. 1-2 to McEwing. Alfonso Soriano, who tripled back in the 7th inning. The Yankees were leading by just the 1. He drove in their 3rd run, and then a little bit later scored their 4th run. The Yankees with a 3-run 7th inning rally to break the tie. They lead 4-1. 9th inning, 2 down. Runner at first. And they chase that high one. 1-2. Alfonso on deck. If the Yankees, Rivera somehow stumbled a bit here and McEwing got aboard and then Alfonso got aboard, Mike Piazza would come up with a chance to tie the game. But as it is, they are down to their final strike. Johnson at first. Off the outside. Ramiro Mendoza in relief of Kiesler. He's the pitcher of record for the win. Wendell in relief of Rush for the loss. And we saw 2 young pitchers, Joe, who each acquitted themselves very proudly tonight.
Yes, they both pitched very well.
And Glendon Rush working on an emergency basis. O'Neill in a hurry. Makes the catch and the Yankees have won it. So the Yankees win the series 2 games out of 3. Bobby Valentine and the Mets, their horrible season goes on, now 13 below 500.
Well, John, if you're the Yankees, you have to feel good about yourselves going to the break. You're starting to fold into that mode of getting the second half run to try to win another world championship. And you know what? They look like they're capable of doing it. This is a good ball club. They know how to play the game. And they've shored up their bullpen, which I think was important.
Their 10th win in the last 11. They lead the Red Sox by a game and a half at the All-Star break. Have a great time with the Home Run Derby tomorrow. We'll see you next Sunday from